Hello and welcome to this Meet the Candidates episode. I am Michelle Blevins, publisher of CNR Magazine, and I am honored to be co-hosting these videos with RIA Board President Katie Smith of PHC Restoration. We are strongly encouraging you to watch each of the Meet the Candidate videos. They are only about 10 minutes in length, and there are 5 stellar candidates in total, so please be sure to watch them all before you go to head to vote for the RIA Board of Directors. Each candidate is being asked the same 3-ish questions. It really is 3, but there's a 2-parter. So I digress. Voting is open from March 18th to 25th. The RIA members will receive an invitation to vote via email, so please keep an eye on your inboxes. Election results will be announced on March 27th, with the new board members being installed at the RIA convention in Dallas, April 8th through 10th. All right, without further ado, I'm going to toss it over to Mr. Matt Preston to introduce himself, and then Katie's going to take it from there. So Matt, go ahead and introduce yourself to those who are listening.
Thank you, Michelle, and hello, Katie. So my name is Matt
Hi.
Preston. I am the Chief Legal Officer at Servpro Industries here in Gallatin, Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a member of the senior leadership team. There's 7 or 8 of us that are responsible for running the business here. I'm also responsible for government affairs, regulatory, and legislative issues, which is something I've done for many years, even prior to joining the Servpro team back in 2012. So I'm going on 12 years here. Before that, I was in the restaurant industry where I had a lot of involvement in regulatory and government affairs things, and worked really closely with our industry trade associations and restaurants, which were really strong and very helpful to the industry. With more than 2,200 franchises across the U.S. and Canada, Servpro, we have a pretty good visibility into what's happening in the restoration industry out there. We have, in some senses, act as an early warning system, and I love working with my fellow members on the RIA board and on the various committees and task force to share what's going on, because that visibility is so important out there. Let us get out in front of issues that can allow us to, both advance the industry, but then protect the industry candidly. So that's really who I am in a nutshell.
Okay, Matt, are you ready for your 3-ish questions today?
I am.
Okay, we're going to start with why. So please tell everyone why you want to serve on the RIA Board of Directors.
Well, Katie, I joined the RIA board back in 2021. As we all know, there were some interesting times for the RIA for a number of years there, and through some fantastic leadership of yourself and Mark Springer and others, the RIA has really emerged as a force in the restoration industry, and both in terms of just increased membership and strength, but also in terms of stature and visibility. About 10 years ago, Mark Springer approached me, I believe, about joining the legal task force, as it was called way back then. And we had some discussions, and I looked at the association and realized that it really had not matured to the point where I felt like I could do a lot of good helping it. But when Mark came back to me in 2021, I was astounded by how much progress the RIA has made, and candidly, even exponentially more in the last 3 years. So I want to be a part of moving this association forward and helping it make a difference. Look, at the end of the day, we all come out of the same ecosystem, whether it's Servpro or any independent restorers. And frankly, we're 2,200 franchises out there who are actually independently owned and operated restorers that happen to work under the Servpro brand, but we're all part of the same world. And so to the extent we can, again, as I said earlier, advance and protect the interest of the entire industry, it's really good for all of us. So that's where I'm trying to give back where I can here, to help do whatever we can to advance and protect the restoration industry.
You all have a lot of locations, and I know you speak to a lot of operators. So what do you think is keeping restorers up at night?
So this is my favorite part of all this, honestly. And it's funny, I look back at what I've said in these types of forums over the last 3 years, and the topics really haven't changed. Just maybe some of the progress towards those topics have changed. I think the number one thing that's impacting this industry is the tremendous consolidation that we're seeing out there. And it's happening amongst the independents, the regionals, the large, the smalls, a lot of roll-ups with some of the big companies, ATI, Blue Sky, First Onsite, and others. It's changing the landscape of the restoration industry. It's happening in our business. A lot of our larger players are buying the smaller, less performing businesses. So it's pretty much consistent fabric across the whole industry. I think that could bring a lot of challenges, but more importantly, opportunities to the industry as we seek to grow here. and to mature in a lot of areas. They're going to be very important to us. I think we all have to be very mindful about how this impacts us. So the next big one is just technology. At the end of the day, we've come a long way in the last 5 years. And now we're seeing pretty significant competition between the Verisk and the CoreLogic platforms out there. It's certainly having an impact in so many different areas, whether it's training, whether it's operations, whether it's estimating. It's just going to continue. And what we're getting is a lot more technology in terms of full service suites. CoreLogic's bringing a lot more to the table. Verisk is also. It's going to, if it's harnessed correctly and used right, it's going to advance the industry tremendously. But I think much like the operators in our system, I'm not sure everybody is understanding of that and is comfortable with where that's going. So I think the RIA can really do a lot here to help educate and train and help people make sense of all this in the world. I think we're seeing an area that's near and dear to my heart as I'm the chairman of the legislative task force of the AGA. We're seeing an intense increase in the amount of regulation at the state and local level, and legislation at the state and local level that, whether intentionally or not, impacts restorers. We're seeing more and more of that as we see more storms around in the storm states, as I call them, because nothing like a storm to bring out the customer complaints and issues that are out there. And legislators love to jump on top of that stuff and think they can affect change through the law. I think we need to be very, very focused on that, and we are doing that with the legislative task force. And then another big one here is just the whole move to the full service model. A lot of restorers, ServPro people also grew up on a mitigation only type framework. So this has been a seismic shift over the last 3 to 5 years as the big insurance carriers have realized for one reason or another that it makes sense to bring a full service platform to their policyholders. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there, but it can be a bit of a daunting task for someone who's trying to get into this and do it well.
All right, so here's the ish part of your question. You've mentioned a couple of things that the RIA is already doing to address these issues, but is there anything else that you'd like to see RIA provide that could alleviate some of these pain points that you just discussed?
So I'm gonna pivot here towards what I'm specifically involved in, and that's the whole legislative and regulatory affairs area. First, I want to say we're blessed here to have a lot of really good people volunteer for this committee, this task force, and even better, a few more have come out of the woodwork as of late. And I'm always saying, the more the merrier. If you out there who are listening to this have any interest in all in government and how it impacts our business, please talk to us and get involved with this task force. It's a great way to plug into the RIA for the first time if you're seeking, a more expansive view of all this. But I think there's a couple of areas that are going to be really important for us to follow. One area that's really jumped up in the last 2 years is consumer protection. All the laws out there that were originally put in place to protect consumers from what I'm going to call contractors, home improvement contractors, with rights of rescission and things like that we're seeing more and more of in different states that just don't lend themselves at all to our industry. And if you think about this, some of these have a 7-day right of rescission after a homeowner signs a contract. Well, what we do, we come in, we're done in 3 to 5 days. It's just a straight dry out. So these laws just don't apply. But if they are in place, they're going to harm all of us. So I think the role that I want to play with the RIA, and I think we can begin to do more of this, is to identify and prioritize the opportunities out there where we're being impacted by laws, and then start doing advocacy efforts. Pick the top 3 to 5 things that we think can really move the needle, which is what our game plan is through the end of this year, and then talking about how we're going to resource those issues. And that's when we can really start to show some wins for all of our members, and let our members have a voice in that too, from all around the country. What's keeping you up at night? What are you hearing? What's bothering you? Let us help you.
Absolutely. More things to come on that too from AGA. Last question we have for you is just tell us what you love the most about the restoration industry.
So it's unlike a lot of people who are in the RIA or are going to be out listening to this call. I'm kind of passing through this ecosystem. I wasn't born into it like a lot of people were. I love hearing stories about having to work on the truck when people are 13 years old. I love people's origin stories. That's my most favorite thing. How did you get in the industry? Why are you doing it? I have all the time in the world to hear that. But I think, to me, I love the fact that this is a mission-driven business. We see it all the time. These folks that are in the restoration business love to help people. And I talk to so many people and they tell me that's why they do it. And I believe that, not just ServPro, but in other places. I think that's very unique and a really key differentiator for what we do and what this business model is.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Anything else that you want to share?
No, just except to say, please vote. Get out there and support the RIA. I love the fact that we have much more grassroots interest in getting involved with the board and the various committees. And it's people like you who are listening to this that can continue to do this and be the next generation of leadership for the RIA.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Katie. And thank you to everyone who watched this video. Again, please take a moment to watch all the candidate videos. You can find them on restorationindustry.org and the CNR website. Again, voting is open March 18th through 25th. If you're an RIA member, you will receive an email to vote. So be on the lookout for your inboxes. If you have not booked your hotel or registered for convention yet, get on it because time's a wasting and the convention's soon. So Matt and Katie, I look forward to seeing you both in Dallas. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.